Got no idea who this person is, but for whatever reason, I'm blocked. I mean, really? All the pro Caitlin Clark content I make, and I'm blocked. Oh, I hurt somebody's widow feelings. Anyway, too bad. So this went up on Instagram from Caitlin Clark, and it's Caitlin Clark signing a lot of autographs for a...
It's time to get back to a lot of this, Caitlin Clark posted on Instagram alongside a montage of her signing autographs for hundreds of Fever fans. This wasn't just an innocent off-season post. It was a calculated message aimed at the WNBA's stalled collective bargaining talks, which have dragged on for months with no resolution. While other players shared demands and complaints, Clark subtly reminded everyone what truly matters: the fans, the game, and the very reason the league exists in the first place.
Leadership president has come out, made some comments about her being on that telecast between the Knicks and the Lakers, an NBA telecast. By the way, 4.5 million people tuned in. It was a record showing, and of course, Caitlin Clark was on that pregame. I would love to see the statistics of how many people stuck around and actually watched the game. I would love...
NBC's Basketball Night in America launched with 4.5 million viewers, setting a record for NBC's NBA coverage in recent seasons. Caitlin Clark stood between two NBA legends on the broadcast and held her own throughout the entire pregame show. This wasn't a short, pre-recorded segment. She appeared live, standing next to Rick Fox and Reggie Miller, delivering sharp analysis that NBC sports president Rick Cordella said met every expectation the network had. This wasn't a publicity stunt. It was a real audition for her post-playing career, and she passed with honors.
Right here, there is still no collective bargaining agreement, as the league and the Players Association remain in a stalemate. And with each passing day, the possibility of the season being delayed or even being put in jeopardy altogether becomes more real. This is not something Clark wants, and her recent public statements have served to apply some subtle pressure to get the deal done. When Clark made her NBA on NBC broadcasting debut Sunday, she once again emphasized the importance of the moment for the WNBA, and that's not what I'm referring to. But yeah, the other night she was asked about CBA, and it was a statement that was still very... We've got to play some ball.
When asked about the CBA during her NBC appearance, Clark said she was confident a deal would get done because the players created this moment through the product they put on the floor, and the focus should remain on playing basketball and keeping the momentum going. Notice what she didn't do. She didn't talk about what players deserve, and she didn't attack the league office. Instead, she kept the focus on the game itself. That's leadership. That's understanding the bigger picture. And that's exactly the kind of voice the WNBA Players Association needs right now, even if it seems unwilling to embrace it.
She is. We know Caitlin Clark from basically everything she has said. And I've said, man, boy, if it was me, she would be the president of the Players Union. I wouldn't think twice about it. Because you can tell, yeah, she wants a fair deal, but she also wants to play basketball. And she has handled this whole thing with an immense amount of class that we haven't seen out of hardly anybody involving these talks. And you can tell she gets it. She realizes none of this matters if they don't end up playing basketball.
What makes Clark's approach different is the level of class she's shown throughout these CBA negotiations, something rarely seen from others involved in the talks. While the Players Association has posted vague messages about respect and fair treatment, Clark has consistently brought the focus back to basketball, back to the fans, and back to the product on the court. She understands a simple truth that much of the union leadership seems to miss. None of the money matters if the games don't happen. You can't negotiate revenue sharing for a canceled season, and you can't demand higher salaries if there's no product generating revenue in the first place.
This was put up on social media right here, and I've got no idea who this person is, but for whatever reason I'm blocked. I mean, really? All the pro Caitlin Clark content I make, and I'm blocked. Oh, I hurt somebody's widow feelings. Anyway, too bad. So this went up on the Instagram from Caitlin Clark, and it's Caitlin Clark signing a lot of autographs for a hell of a lot of fevered fans to see her. And she said, it's time to get back to a lot of this.
That Instagram post wasn't random. It came during a critical moment in the CBA negotiations, when talks had reportedly stalled over revenue sharing and opt-out clauses. While the Players Association and the league office dug in on their positions, Clark shared a video of herself connecting with fans and wrote, "It's time to get back to a lot of this." The message was clear. Stop fighting over hypothetical money and get back to creating the moments that actually generate real value.
League and pay attention to it. Her attitude is exactly why people have chosen to tune in. So, according to NBC Sports president Rick Cardella, Clark's performance checked every box the network hoped for. The appearance was not treated as a one-off moment, but rather a glimpse into what her future in sports media could look like. She's going to be a massive star. While Clark remains focused on her playing career.
She's right about the momentum. The 2024 WNBA season saw attendance jump by 48% compared to 2023, while average national TV viewership surged from around 440,000 to over 1.2 million. The Fever alone drew massive playoff audiences that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago, and major sponsors like State Farm, Nike, and Gatorade significantly increased their investments. This isn't theoretical growth. It's real money, real fans, and real momentum. And every day without a CBA agreement puts that momentum at risk of stalling.
Making player comps, by the way. And Reggie Miller, I guess I could have done that video, but I didn't. Who was it? Peyton Pritchard? Are you high? Are you high, Reggie? Anyway, okay. I mean, it's Steph Curry, Luka, Larry Bird. I mean, what in the world? You played around Larry, for crying out loud. Are you blind? Anyway, yeah, it's kind of remarkable, but she was really good. And she held her own.
Now, compare Clark's approach with the tone coming from Players Association leadership. Players leaders have posted about players knowing their worth, refusing to accept less than they deserve, and being ready to do whatever it takes to secure a fair deal. Language that often signals the possibility of a work stoppage. The messaging sounds strong and unified, but it doesn't acknowledge how fragile the league's finances still are, or the simple reality that fans don't care about labor disputes. They care about watching basketball. What makes Clark's approach so strategically smart is that she applies pressure without alienating anyone. She supports her fellow players without weakening their negotiating position, while reminding both the league office and union leadership that everything depends on one basic thing: actually playing the games. That Instagram post got 2.3 million likes in just 48 hours, and her NBC appearance generated more social media engagement than any other NBA broadcast segment that weekend. When she talks about getting back to basketball, millions of fans immediately resonate. That's real leverage and influence, the kind of voice that can actually move negotiations instead of hardening positions. The uncomfortable truth is that Caitlin Clark's interests aren't perfectly aligned with the veteran players leading these talks. She's on a rookie contract earning $76,000 this season, while making roughly $28 million annually from endorsements with Nike, State Farm, Gatorade, and Wilson. Her financial security doesn't depend on WNBA salaries. She could play for free and still be one of the highest-earning female athletes in the world. Meanwhile, the veterans pushing hardest for maximum salary increases rely on their WNBA pay as their primary income, and their leverage comes from their willingness to risk a season. Caitlin Clark doesn't share the same willingness to sacrifice a season, and she shouldn't. At 22, coming off a rookie season averaging 19.2 points and 8.4 assists while leading the Fever to the playoffs for the first time since 2016, she has maybe a decade of elite basketball ahead of her. Every missed season is a year she can't get back. She's focused on playing basketball, improving her game, winning championships, and building on the momentum that's making her the face of women's basketball, not sitting out to make a point about revenue sharing. That's not selfish, it's rational. This puts her at odds with union leaders willing to risk the 2025 season to get their preferred deal. You can see it in how carefully she words everything. She expresses confidence a deal would get done, emphasizes the product on the floor, talks about continuing to play, and never directly criticizes the Players Association. She supports her fellow players without echoing rhetoric about doing whatever it takes or refusing less than they deserve. She's threading an incredibly narrow needle, keeping her priority on playing games rather than winning labor disputes. NBC clearly sees her future too. Rick Cordella didn't just compliment her performance, he noted that her appearance was a glimpse of what her future in sports media could look like, signaling NBC's interest in a potential long-term broadcasting relationship. Clark's already scheduled for another appearance in March, and if the WNBA season is delayed or canceled, don't be surprised if NBC offers her a bigger role covering NBA games through the spring and summer. She has the basketball IQ, communication skills, and audience draw that make networks willing to invest. Her value isn't tied solely to playing WNBA games, which gives her a unique kind of leverage in these CBA negotiations. The Players Association needs Clark more than she needs them. If the season gets canceled, veteran players risk losing their primary income and potentially accelerating the end of their careers, while Clark gains more broadcasting opportunities, more time to work on her game, and increased endorsement deals. She's not desperate for a resolution, she wants one clearly, and that changes how much pressure she's willing to apply and in what direction. That brings us back to her Instagram post. It's time to get back to a lot of this. Not get what we deserve or make the league respect our worth. Back to signing autographs for fans. Back to playing in sold-out arenas. Back to the basketball that created this opportunity. It's a message aimed at everyone. League office, union leadership, and most importantly, the fans watching this drama unfold, wondering if there will even be a season. The league office must be thrilled. She's essentially making their argument for them without taking sides. The longer negotiations drag on, the more momentum from 2024 is lost. Sponsors get nervous, broadcast partners make contingency plans, and fans start moving on. Clark's message pressures the Players Association to compromise while keeping the league out of the spotlight. She's doing the Players Association's PR work for them, probably without even trying, and they can't really push back without looking petty. What are they going to say? That she's wrong to want to play basketball? That fans don't matter? That momentum isn't real? Any attack on her position would undercut their own stated goal, growing the league and increasing revenue so players can earn more. If growing the league is the goal, Clark's message about getting back to basketball and connecting with fans is completely aligned. The only way her position conflicts with the union is if their real priority is winning the labor dispute rather than playing games, which would look terrible publicly. She's put them in a bind, applying pressure without giving them a target to push back against, supporting her fellow players while keeping her priorities clear, and reminding millions of fans why they care about the WNBA in the first place. It isn't labor negotiations or revenue sharing percentages. It's watching elite athletes compete, seeing incredible performances, and connecting with players who engage with communities. That's what builds value. That's what generates revenue, and that's what's at risk the longer these negotiations drag on. The question now is whether her influence moves the needle. Will the Players Association feel enough pressure from their most marketable star to soften their demands? Will the league office feel emboldened to hold firm knowing Clark is publicly emphasizing the importance of playing games? Or will both sides dig in while the one player who could bridge the divide watches from the sidelines, frustrated that her prime years are being wasted on labor disputes she didn't create and can't control? Here's the reality. Caitlin Clark turns 25 in a few weeks. She has maybe 10 elite years ahead if she stays healthy. Every season matters. Every year of development matters. Every opportunity to compete for championships matters. She doesn't have the luxury of sitting out a season to prove a point about collective bargaining. And based on everything she said and posted, she knows it. The real question is whether anyone else involved in these negotiations cares enough about her timeline to actually get a deal done.